Hi, I am Karthik Rannan. I am the president of the Wall Street Club of BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus. Yes, so the collaboration with XLR was an excellent one. We conducted a Power BI workshop with Advanced Excel over a span of 3 days. The workshop was almost 12 hours long in total. Mr. Karthik, who was an amazing trainer, helped the students understand the concepts deeply. I am sure that the students will be able to apply these concepts in their careers as well as their daily lives while they try to navigate the world of finance. I am happy that we will be able to close this workshop successfully on a very good note.
Hi, I am Raghunendra Singh and I am the Technical Director of the Wall Street Club at BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus. It was a great amazing conducting this workshop with XLR. The trainer, Mr. Karthik, was an excellent person where he explained in very detailed manner on how to give great insights using very complex data sets, which was very helpful for the people who are interested in the field of finance, business or analytics in general. Thank you.
I attended a workshop conducted by CSA and ACM in collaboration with XLR. So it was a machine learning workshop. We learned a lot from the course and it was a great experience attending the workshop.
The trainer was very helpful. He had a hands-on approach with his teaching and it was fabulous.
This was a great experience for me. So I would absolutely love it if XLR and its team would come again to our campus and conduct more events like this.
The journey was great. Initially, I thought that I was not proficient enough in Excel, but later I came to know there was no prerequisites for it, and then I applied for it, and it was a great course, and it started from basics and took me to a great extent.
Good evening, myself Kavya Ganatra. I am from Computer Science Association. I was the POC for this ML workshop conducted by CSA and ACM in collaboration with XLR. The experience of the workshop was really nice. The feedback from all the students was positive. They understood the concept. The workshop was also practical based with some questions. The experience with XLR was very smooth. They helped us in conducting the workshop smoothly right from the booking of the vendor and deciding the course till the distribution of certificates. In overall, this workshop was a success during our technical fest Atmos, and I thank XLR for being a part of it. Thank you.
Hi, I am Karthik Rannan. I am the president of the Wall Street Club of BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus. Yes, so the collaboration with XLR was an excellent one. We conducted a Power BI workshop with Advanced Excel over a span of 3 days. The workshop was almost 12 hours long in total. Mr. Karthik, who was an amazing trainer, help the students understand the concepts deeply. I am sure that the students will be able to apply these concepts in their careers as well as their daily lives while they try to navigate the world of finance. I am happy that we will be able to close this workshop successfully on a very good note.
Hi, I am Raghunendra Singh and I am the Technical Director of the Wall Street Club at BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus. It was a great amazing conducting this workshop with XLR. The trainer, Mr. Karthik, was an excellent person where he explained in very detailed manner on how to give great insights using very complex data sets, which was very helpful for the people who are interested in the field of finance, business or analytics in general. Thank you.
I attended a workshop conducted by CSA and ACM in collaboration with XLR. So it was a machine learning workshop. We learned a lot from the course and it was a great experience attending the workshop.
The trainer was very helpful. He had a hands-on approach with his teaching and it was fabulous.
This was a great experience for me, so I would absolutely love it if XLR and its team would come again to our campus and conduct more events like this.
The journey was great. Initially, I thought that I was not proficient enough in Excel, but later I came to know there was no prerequisites for it, and then I applied for it, and it was a great course, and it started from basics and took me to a great extent.
Good evening, myself Kavya Ganatra. I am from Computer Science Association. I was the POC for this ML workshop conducted by CSA and ACM in collaboration with XLR. The experience of the workshop was really nice. The feedback from all the students was positive. They understood the concept. The workshop was also practical based with some questions. The experience with XLR was very smooth. They helped us in conducting the workshop smoothly right from the booking of the vendor and deciding the course till the distribution of certificates. In overall, this workshop was a success during our technical fest Atmos, and I thank XLR for being a part of it. Thank you.
Hi, I am Karthik Rannan. I am the president of the Wall Street Club of BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus. Yes, so the collaboration with XLR was an excellent one. We conducted a Power BI workshop with Advanced Excel over a span of 3 days. The workshop was almost 12 hours long in total. Mr. Karthik, who was an amazing trainer, helped the students understand the concepts deeply. I am sure that the students will be able to apply these concepts in their careers as well as their daily lives while they try to navigate the world of finance. I am happy that we will be able to close this workshop successfully on a very good note.
Hi, I am Raghunendra Singh and I am the Technical Director of the Wall Street Club at BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus. It was a great, amazing conducting this workshop with XLR. The trainer, Mr. Karthik, was an excellent person where he explained in very detailed manner on how to give great insights using very complex data sets, which was very helpful for the people who are interested in the field of finance, business, or analytics in general. Thank you.
I attended a workshop conducted by CSA and ACM in collaboration with XLR. So it was a machine learning workshop. We learned a lot from the course and it was a great experience attending the workshop.
The trainer was very helpful. He had a hands-on approach with his teaching and it was fabulous.
This was a great experience for me, so I would absolutely love it if XLR and its team would come again to our campus and conduct more events like this.
The journey was great. Initially, I thought that I was not proficient enough in Excel, but later I came to know there was no prerequisites for it, and then I applied for it, and it was a great course, and it started from basics and took me to a great extent.
Good evening, myself Kavya Ganatra. I am from Computer Science Association. I was the POC for this ML workshop conducted by CSA and ACM in collaboration with XLR. The experience of the workshop was really nice. The feedback from all the students was positive. They understood the concept. The workshop was also practical based with some questions. The experience with XLR was very smooth. They helped us in conducting the workshop smoothly right from the booking of the vendor and deciding the course till the distribution of certificates. In overall, this workshop was a success during our technical fest Atmos, and I thank XLR for being a part of it. Thank you.
Am I audible to all of you guys? Okay, great. Thank you guys. Thanks for the confirmation. Let me share my screen. Is it visible to you guys? Okay, cool. So let's begin with the session, guys. So in the last session, we have discussed the things related to the neural network part, right? We saw a couple of hands-on with ChatGPT, and then we started discussing the things related to network part, and we saw a couple of some technical details like how a typical neural network looks like, what are these neurons or nodes, and what are these connections and all, and what are the processing is being done by each and every individual neuron or a node, right? And then we also understood why we are calling this particular neural network architecture as a feed forward neural network or a sequential neural network. Sequential neural network, right? So we saw all of these basic details. So up to this point, guys, any doubt or any queries, anyone? Do you guys recall all of these concepts? Let me just show you what all we have discussed. So this is how we have started, like discussing how our brain performs, processing for different signals which we are getting from different body parts. So like how, neuron does the processing in our brain. What are these dendrites? What is this nucleus? What are this synapse and axon? Right? And then we saw our typical neural network architecture like this. So from there, we have understood like these are the connections, just like an axon, which will take the output of one neuron to the other neuron. Right. So in that way, the information is flowing from left to right in a forward direction or in a sequential way. So that's why we are calling this particular network as a feed forward neural network or a sequential neural network. All right. And then we started understanding like how a typical neuron, does the processing. So taking this example, we understood that what is the bias and what are the, things will be performed by each and every neuron. So like what is the adder function and what is the activation function. And then we saw the different activation functions like this one. So like sigmoid, 10H, ReLU, right? Liquid ReLU, max out, LU, soft max, and there are a lot of others. So all of these things we already discussed. So up to this point, guys, any doubt or any queries, anyone? What about YouTube, guys? Okay, no doubt, right? So let's proceed with the rest of the things. Okay, guys. So if you don't have any doubt, so let me start like this. Okay. So guys, we understood what is a typical neural network, how it looks like. And before, proceeding with the ChatGPT part, I will also, show you one hands-on how we can design a typical neural network, how you can apply this deep learning architecture as a neural network architecture over a data set, and how you can get the outcome, right? Just to demonstrate you how the things will be arranged. And then after that, like we'll be seeing a couple of hands-on with the ChatGPT, and along with that, we will also see what is the technologies behind the ChatGPT, right? So to cover all of those things, let me give you an introduction how the things are arranged in the deep learning. So in the deep learning, there are different neural network architectures are there. So I guess I have already discussed this part, but let me just repeat. We just recall you, all of you guys. So when it comes to the guys deep learning or AI based models or applications, so neural network is something which is the backbone for all of these models, right? So in the deep learning, we have something called as a ANN or artificial neural network. So whatever neural network architecture we have discussed so far, that is something we are calling as a ANN or artificial neural network. So this kind of a neural network architecture we use for a regression modeling and for classification models. Right? Either for regression or classification models, we go with the ANN, artificial neural network. Then we have something called as a CNN, convolutional neural network. So this convolutional neural network is mainly used for a image or video data. So like image processing or video processing or video analysis. Right. So there we have a different applications like image segmentation, image classification, object detection, object localization, and all. There are a lot of other applications are there with the image part. Then we have something called as a RNN, recurrent neural network. So recurrent neural network is something which deals with the sequential data. So guys, I have already covered all of those things. So let me just remind you where we are standing, right? So it's like sequential data analysis. So RNN is a neural network architecture which is used for a sequential data analysis. Within that, we have a time series forecasting. And text data analysis. All right. And then we have some modified form of the RNN, that is something called as a LHTM, long short-term memory, that is also used for a same sequential data analysis. We also have another modified form of the RNN that is called as a GRU, gated recurrent unit, that is also used for a same purpose sequential data analysis. So these two are the modified form of the RNN only. And then we have something called as a sequence to sequence model. Sequence to sequence model, which is actually utilizing something called as a encoder decoder architecture. Encoder decoder model. So using this encoder decoder model, we have it is like the sequence to sequence model is being designed. So at the backend, this encoder decoder models are nothing but these are the LSTM architectures only, right? And then finally we have something called the transformer. So this transformer is again advanced deep learning architecture, which at the backend utilize some modified form of the sequence to sequence model, and it is being used with something called as the attention mechanism. Attention mechanism. So with that, like we have the things are arranged. All right. Is that clear, guys? Any questions? Anyone? Okay, so I guess things are pretty much clear to you guys. So first of all, let me just give you an idea how you can design a typical artificial neural network and how you can apply this neural network over a data set, how you can generate the outcome, right? And then we will see, we'll be seeing couple of, hands-on with the ChatGPT part. And then in upcoming classes, we will try to understand this RNN architecture and how LSTM is different from this RNN. What is a sequence to sequence model like encoder decoder architecture like? So all of those things we will try to explore in upcoming sessions. Okay. So, but for today's session, let me give you an idea like how you can design a typical neural network architecture, especially artificial neural network, right? So guys, when it comes to, designing any neural network architecture and applying this architecture over your data set and getting the prediction. So actually we need to follow a couple of steps, and just by following those steps only, you can design your neural network architecture, right? So we have actually 3 steps, or you can say 3 phases. The first one is something define neural network architecture, right? So the first phase is defining the neural network architecture. So in this phase, actually what we do, we define the number of layers which we are going to use, number of layers, which model we are going to use, like which model we are going to use. And then within each layer, how many number of nodes or neurons will be there. This is something we specify. And then we also specify what is my activation function. Right? So all of those things we specify in the first phase, which is the defining the neural network architecture. Right? Then we have a second phase, that is something called as a compilation phase. Compile the model. Compilation phase. Now this is the place where we actually define what is my loss function. Loss function is something, guys, it totally depends upon what kind of a model you are building. So based upon that, it will calculate what is the error in your model. That is something we are calling as a loss function. And then we also define something called as a optimizer. So optimizer is something, it is one kind of a, you can say, algo, which tries to reduce this loss, right? So whatever loss is being generated by the model, the optimizer will try to minimize that loss. So likewise, like we have this loss and optimizer, and there are a lot of optimizers are available. You can choose any one of them. I will discuss you what are these things. And the third and the last phase is something, execute your model. Execute model. That is nothing but just apply your model, or you can say run the model, or you can say fit the model over training data set. So these are the simple steps which we follow while designing any kind of a neural network model or architecture. Is that clear, guys? Any questions? What is the optimizer for? Okay. So guys, optimizer is nothing but it is one kind of a algo is running at the back end, which tries to minimize this loss. All right. So whatever loss is being generated, loss is nothing but what, guys? It's an error. When you define any of the model, when you run any of the model, there will be some error with that. So whatever is the error, this optimizer will try to minimize this error so that your model can perform effectively and accurately. So there are a lot of optimizers are available. So let me just name you a couple of optimizers. So we have a gradient descent is one of the optimizer. Gradient descent. We have a SGD, which is a stochastic gradient descent, is another optimizer. We have a something called momentum, is another optimizer. We have a something called EdaGrade, another optimizer. We have a something called Adam, another optimizer. RMS probe is another optimizer. So these are the different optimizers. These are nothing but different algos are there, which will try to minimize this error which is being generated by your model architecture, right? So this is like in that way we have this particular concept of app optimizer. Clear, guys? Any other questions? What about YouTube, guys? Okay, so I guess this part is clear to you guys. So let me just walk you through the code and the data set what we have. By the way, guys, the code and the data set is already there over your LMS portal, right? So I guess under day 10, you can find all of these materials. Okay. So if you want, you can download it and use it parallelly. Okay, guys. So is this Python notebook is visible to you guys? Okay, cool. So guys, this Python notebook and the data set, both of the things are available over your LMS portal. I guess under day 10 is there. So you can download it and use it parallelly, right? If you want. So let me just walk you through the code and then we'll try to see a couple of more things. So, okay. So guys, when it comes to the, designing any deep learning or AI based application, so the library what we used for that is basically TensorFlow. So TensorFlow is the library which we use to design these kind of a neural network architectures. TensorFlow, right? So first of all, guys, you need to install this particular library. Then only you can utilize the functionality of this particular library called TensorFlow. It is very commonly used when it comes to the deep learning or AI based, applications. So in the first line, what you can do, you can uncommit this line, just remove this hash sign, and you can install this particular library called TensorFlow. Since I have already installed, so I'm not going to install it again, right? And then after installing this library, so I am just importing a couple of required packages. Like as TensorFlow, I'm importing as a TF. You can also check the version of your TensorFlow. All right. So like make sure your TensorFlow version is 2+, like 2 point something. Because if your TensorFlow version is less than 2 point something, then a couple of packages are not supported with that. Okay, guys. So this is a sample data set, guys, which I have taken just to explain you how you can build a typical neural network architecture. And this is something we are calling as a churn modeling, right? What is a churn modeling? So let me just explain you. So this data set, this is the head of a data set, and this data set contains the different customer information, right? So these customers are nothing but they are the customers of a particular bank. So you have a customer ID, some credit score for each and every customer, what is the gender of customer, age of the customer. Tenure is nothing but the number of years in the past the customer is associated with the bank. What is the balance of the customer? Number of product is, it is nothing but how many services the customer is taking from the bank. Has credit card, whether the customer is having a credit card or not. So here you have a values as 1 or 0, right? So 1 indicates that customer is having a credit card. 0 indicates that customer is not utilizing the or not having the credit card. Is active member is something whether customer at present is an active member with the bank or not. So active member is something the customer who is frequently utilizing the bank services, right? And then what is the estimated salary of a customer? And then in the last, guys, we have our target variable, that is the exited, right? So whether customer has left the bank or not. This is something we are calling as the customer has churned. If customer has left the bank, customer is no more utilizing the like bank services. This is something we are calling as a customer has churned. And in total, we are calling as a churn modeling. All right. So in that way, we have this data set, and this is our target variable. So actually using this particular variable, target variable, we want to build a model, which will be a deep learning model. And it will classify each and every customer, whether the customer has churned or not. All right. So in future, if I get the details for any of the customer, I can easily, do the prediction based upon this model, whether this particular customer will churn in future or not. So this is the utility of this particular model. Okay, is that clear, guys? Any questions with this part, the data set? Anyone? Okay, great. Exited me. Okay. So then the exited means is nothing but if this particular variable has a value either 1 or 0. So 1 indicates that this particular customer. So if you see for first record, that means for this particular customer ID, this customer has exited. That means this customer has left the bank. This customer is no more associated with the bank. Right? So this is how we have this exited column. That means that this particular customer has churned. Okay, cool. Okay, guys. So in that way, we have this data set arranged here. And what we are doing, first of all, we have okay, so first of all, ignore this first column, guys, because this is a unique customer ID. This particular column contains no information. This is something we have a unique identification number kind of thing, right? It's a just ID. So what are the features of the customer? Like the credit score, gender, age, tenure, balance, estimated salary, all of these things. These are the different features of my customer. And this is our target variable exited, whether the customer has exited, churned or not, right? So in that way, we are just segregating our X variables and Y variable. So I'm sure you guys can understand what is the syntax of ilog. We have already discussed this part. All right. So here, guys, comes a couple of more concepts. So if you see your X variable, which is nothing but this one, all of these variables are my X variables. Right? These are called as the features of my data set. So if you see, guys, apart from gender, all other features are in a numerical format. But gender is a variable for which the values are in a text form. Right? Since this particular feature is in text, is containing the text information, so I can't apply any kind of a statistical, models or any kind of a technique over this particular data set. So what I need to do, either I drop this variable or somehow I need to convert this text information into its numerical representation, right? So here what we are going to do, since I know that in the gender column, I have only two values, either female or male. So what I can do the encoding. What encoding will do? It will assign the value 0 for female and value 1 for the male. So that whenever in the gender column I will get 0, it is automatically understood that this particular customer is a female. And whenever in the gender column I will get the value 1, that means the customer is a male, right? So for that, guys, we have a direct method available under the sklearn preprocessing module. We have something called as a level encoder, right? So we are just initializing this level encoder and applying this level encoder over my first column. I mean, this is a column with the index position 1. So like this is the index position 0 and this is the index position 1. So if you see here, by the index position, you can see, since we are, just a minute. Yeah. Since we are ignoring or, removing this particular column, so this is my X variable. And in this X variable, this particular column is my first column with the index position 0. This gender is a second column with the index position 1. Right? So in that way, we are applying this level encoding with only gender variable, right? So now you can see the output of this level encoding. So over my gender variable, now I'm getting the values as 0 or 1. So whenever there is a presence of 0, that means that particular customer is a female. And whenever we have a 1, that means the customer is a male. So I mean, in that way, we can do something called as a level encoding. And this process is called as a encoding the categorical variable. Encoding the categorical variable, right? This process is called as the encoding. So through that, we have just converted the text feature into the numerical equivalent, right? So this is one thing, guys. And then I'm sure you guys understood what is this train test split. So what we are doing, we are splitting our dataset into train and test dataset as a percentage of 80 to 20%. So you can see the test size is at 20% and rest 80% in the training dataset. So if you see your size for the training dataset, it is a 8,000 and test dataset size is a 2,000. So in total, I have a 10,000 records. Out of that, 8,000 records in the training dataset, 2,000 records in the test dataset, right? And then what is a method? So method is a build the model over the training dataset. So this is the dataset over which we build the model. Build the model, right? And this is the dataset where I'm going to validate my model or test the model. Test the model, right? But guys, when it comes to the deep learning based approaches, so there is one extra thing comes in a picture, and that is very important, and it is mandatory to do this part. So just before building the model, to do something called as a feature scaling for your dataset, right? So to scale your dataset just before building the model. So when you scaled your dataset, what happened? Your dataset will get transformed into some new values. And with over this new or transformed dataset, we are going to build the model. Now, what is the concept of feature scaling? Let me just explain you from here. Let's say this is my dataset. All right. Now, if you see, guys, okay, let me just show you from here. Yeah. So this is something what we have. our X variables over which we are going to build our model, right? So guys, if you see this particular X data set, so you can say you can take it as a X train or X test, whatever we have. In this data set, we have a different features, and all of the features is having some different units. For example, if you see this credit score, so basically credit score is having none unit, right? So there is no unit for a credit score. If you see this age in a years, right? This tenure probably in years or months, it can be anything. This balance, this is something in either in rupees or dollars, right? Estimated salary, let's say it is in rupees. So that means when you are dealing with a long data set or large data set, there the different features is having some different units. So if you are building a deep learning model over this kind of a data set where there are a lot of features with different units, and based upon that we have a values. So if you see this estimated salary column, and if you see this, let's say tenure. So this tenure, let's suppose it is in years, and this estimated salary is in, let's say, rupees. You can see the range of values for these two columns. The tenure is probably in a single digit number, while estimated salary is something very large value compared to the tenure. So if this kind of a things is there in your data set and you start building the model, then what will happen? The features which is having the large values like this estimated salary or balance, they will dominate over your model, and they will create a biasness in your model. So to avoid this kind of a situation, what we do, we transform this complete data set into a new data set where all of these values will get transformed to a new values. So in such a way that whatever behavior is present in this original data set, the same behavior is maintained in this transformed data set also. So this is something we are calling the feature scaling. Is that clear, guys? What is a feature scaling? Any questions, guys, with this part? What about YouTube, guys? Okay, guys. So I guess this part is clear to you guys. So I mean, this is the conceptual understanding why we are doing the feature scaling. Now let's see how you can apply the feature scaling. It's a very straightforward. So under the sklearn.preprocessing, we have a module called as a method called as a standard scaler, right? And here we are just creating a initializing this particular instance for the standard scaler and applying this one over the X train and X test data set, right? And this is how we are getting the scaled data set for X train. And similarly, you will get the scaled data set for a X test, right? So I mean, in this data set, the values for all the columns are in almost in the same range, so that there will be no biasness will be there in your final model. Apart from that, whatever model you will apply over this data set, that will be that will optimize the result in a very quick manner. Okay, so I mean, these are the reasons why we are doing the feature scaling. Now, once you have done the feature scaling, now this is the place where we start building the model. So if you recall, I have discussed, three phases while building the model. The first phase is basically designing or define the neural network architecture. right? And what we do in this neural network architecture defining phase, so we specify what is our model, the number of layers which we are going to use, what are the number of nodes I'm going to use for each and every layer, right? And what will be my activation function. Activation function for each and every layer. So all of these things we will define or design in the neural network architecture phase. So let's see how you can do that. So since we have already installed the TensorFlow, so under the TensorFlow, we have another module called as a Keras. Within that, we have another module called as a models. And within that, we have a method called as a sequential. So this sequential is something, this is the method which we are going to use to start building our model. So what is our model? My model is a sequential model. And I have already discussed why we are calling it as a sequential model, because the data is flowing in a sequential manner, right? So this is how we are specifying that we are going to build a sequential model, and I'm calling this sequential model as a ANN, right? So up to this phase, I have just specified that we are going to build a sequential model. Now it is a time to specify the number of layers. And if you recall the typical neural network architecture, there we have discussed the first layer will always be the input layer. Last layer will always be the output layer. And then in between input and output, we may have a couple of layers, which we call it as a hidden layers. Right? So let's say hidden layer 1, H1, hidden layer 2, H2, hidden layer 3, S3, like that. So this is a typical architecture what we have, and within each and every layer, we have a couple of nodes. Right? So I mean, in that way, we have a typical neural network architecture. So this is what we are going to do here. So first we have specified that we are going to build a sequential model. And then now it's a time to add each and every layer to this sequential model. So first of all, we are going to add an input layer, because the first layer will always be the input layer. Now, if you see, guys, how we can add any layer. So ANN is our sequential model, and within that we have a method called as a add. So we are adding a layer, and within that we have a something called as a tf.keras.layers.dense. So it's a dense layer. It will be a dense layer, and within that we have a two arguments, units and activation. So these units are nothing but, guys, the number of nodes which I want to specify. So this is my first layer, which is the input layer. And here I'm specifying I want to provide 9 nodes in this particular input layer. So it says, I have just taken some random values. So in my input layer, I have a 9 nodes. And the activation function is relu. So this is the place how you can specify like what will be your activation function, and how many number of nodes you want to provide for this layer. Right? Is that clear, guys? Right? Okay, cool. Now this is the input layer what we have added up to this place. Now after input layer, the next I want to add couple of hidden layers. So here I have taken an example. Like I have added 3 hidden layers in the just same way, ann.add, tf.keras.layers.dense, and then this is my first hidden layer after input layer, right? So here I'm providing the 16 nodes with the activation function as a relu. This is my second hidden layer with the same 16 nodes, activation function as a relu. And this is my third hidden layer with 8 hidden nodes or eight nodes with activation function same as a relu, right? So these are my hidden layers. And then finally, I'm using my last layer. Since this is my last layer, so it will be the output layer. So in my output layer, I'm specifying only one node with sigmoid as the activation function. Okay. Why I'm using the sigmoid as an activation function in the output layer? The reason being, whatever model I'm going to build, this model is going to classify the customers, whether the customer will churn or not, right? That means the model will classify the customers in either of the category, either 1 or 0. So guys, sigmoid is an activation function which is used in the output layer if you want to build a classification model. Classification model. So for classification model, sigmoid is the activation function which we use in the output layer, right? This particular activation function will classify the records in either one of the category. So I mean, in that way, we have this particular neural network architecture. Is that clear, guys? This complete architecture. So in this architecture, actually, we are going to build a neural network architecture like this. So we have an input layer with 9 nodes. Then we have 3 hidden layers. So this is my first hidden layer, let's say H1. This is my second hidden layer, let's say H2. Third hidden layer, let's say H3. And then we have a final and output layer. This is my output layer. So in my first hidden layer, I have 16 nodes. This is the node number 16. In the second hidden layer, again, I have 16 nodes. Node number 16. In the third hidden layer, I have 8 nodes, right? In the output layer, I have only single node. And then internally, we have these connections available. Right? So this will produce the final output. So I mean, in that way, this is what a neural network architecture we are going to build. So is that clear, guys? Any questions up to this part? YouTube guys, any questions? Okay, so there is one question. What is a dense layer mean? So dense layer is nothing but, guys. So basically, it will create, each and every connection between any of the 2 layers. Right? Sucheta, yes. So all of these codes are already available over the LMS portal. I guess in the date 10 section, you can find all of these codes in the dataset. That is already there. Right? Yes. So this dense layer is something, guys. This dense method is something, guys. So it will it will create each and every connection between the nodes of one layer to the next layer node. Okay. Yes, Siddhanta. So we are using the TensorFlow to build these models. You can use any of the method, either standardized or normalized. Okay. Cool, guys. So let's come back to our part. Okay, so this is how we are, defining the neural network architecture. Now the second phase is the compilation. So guys, compilation is a phase where we, specify our loss and optimizer. So as I told you, optimizer is nothing but it is one kind of a algo which tries to reduce the loss, right? And in case of a classification model, the loss will be binary cross entropy. So this is the name of the loss function which we use in case of a classification model, right? And the optimizer, we have a lot of optimizer. You can choose any one of them. So I'm going with the Adam. So as I specified, you can choose, gradient descent, stochastic gradient descent, momentum, Adam, ADA grade, RMS prop, right? So we have a lot of optimizers. So, but most of the times we go with the Adam. And loss function for a classification model, I'm choosing the binary cross entropy. And this metric is nothing but, so this is the metric which I'm using to evaluate the performance of this model. How well this model is performing, how I can, get an idea just by seeing the accuracy of this model, right? So this is the way how we are specifying these things. And then the final, execute the model. That means fit your model over training and test data set. There is something called the batch size and epoch. Epoch is nothing but how many times the model will run through all of this data set, right? And the batch size is nothing but at a time, model will take only 100 records to execute. So in that way, we have these two parameters. And guys, this is how the model will run, right? So you can see model has run 50 times over all the data set. All the data points. And here you can see for each and every execution, you can see what is the loss and what is the accuracy of the model, right? So, this is the way how you can check the execution of your model. Even, okay. Ankit, epoch is nothing but, okay, let me just explain you like this. So let's suppose, guys, I have a data set where we have a number of features, right? So let's just like this data set. So let's say this is the X1, this is the X2, this is the X3, this is the X4, and so on. And let's say there are 10 records, record number 1, record number 2, record number 3, 4, 5, 6, and likewise, we have a 10 records, 1, 2, 3, and up to 10. So epoch is something bad, guys. If I say epoch equals to 1, that means this particular neural network model or architecture, it will run only once over all of these 10 data points. If I say epoch equals to 2, so it will run 2 times over all of these data points. If I say epoch equals to 10, so it will run 10 times over this data set, right? So this is the meaning of epoch. So how many number of times I want to run the model over all of these data points? That is something we are calling as a epoch. Is that clear, guys? Nandani, accuracy is changing for each and every epoch. The reason being, we have an optimizer here, right? This optimizer will try to reduce the error for after each and every epoch. So that's why we have an optimizer. Okay. And if the error or the loss is reduced, automatically the accuracy will increase. Okay. Is that clear, guys? Any other questions? YouTube guys? Okay, so I hope this part is clear to you guys. Okay. So after that, guys, this is how we built our model. All right. And then you can also check the summary of your model. This summary is nothing but, guys, if you recall how a typical neuron works, guys. So a typical neuron will combine the input, whatever input is coming, based upon its weights value, right? W1, W2, and there is a weight for bias W0, like that. So like this summary will show you in your complete neural network architecture, starting from input layer up to the output layer, how many number of weights are being adjusted, right? So that means how many weights calculation is being done at the backend. So that is being, you can see the summary of those weights. So in total, there are 67 weights are being adjusted at the backend. So this is something called as your model summary. But apart from that, you can use this model to get the prediction over your data set. So I'm using the same model. After building a model, I'm doing the prediction over the trained data set, and I'm checking the accuracy. So over the trained data set, I'm getting the accuracy as a 69%. The same thing I'm doing for a text data set, and over the text data set, I'm getting the accuracy as a 70%. Right? So overall, my model is having a approximate 70% of accuracy. Right? So this is how we can build the model and test the model. Right? Yes, Sucheta, this data set is very small. That's why the model is also not too much complex. That's why we can train it over the Ziptel environment. But if you have a very large data set or you have a very complex model, so generally we train it over the cloud. Okay. Yeah. So guys, this is how we can build our model and how I can utilize this model. So let's suppose, guys, in future, if I'm getting a new customer like this. So these are the details for my new customer. Like the credit score is a 600, gender is a male, age is a 40 years, tenure is a 3 years, and some other details. Now I want to know whether this customer will churn or not. So this is how we can utilize this model using this particular features for this new customer. And if I pass all of these features to my model, and how I can pass, if you recall, guys, we have transformed or scaled the data set, then we have built the model. So here also you need to transform this particular data set into you need to scale this data set, and then you need to apply the predict method. So if you see, my model is saying this particular customer will not churn, right? So this is how you can utilize the model for the future prediction. Sucheta, there are a lot of cloud platforms. You can adopt any one of them, right? But the thing is, individually, if you want to, do the things over the cloud, so they need to, do the registration for the candidate, and there they will you will be required to provide your credit card details, right? So initially there are, there is a free limit, but the moment you cross the free limit, there will be charging for that. Whatever resources you are using, there will be charging for that. So this is the limitation, to use the cloud platform if you want to do it individual basis. Kanta, as there is no hard and fast, threshold is there to say the data set is a small or large. Generally, if your data set is containing, let's say 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, up to 50,000 records, generally we treat this data set as a small data set. And if your data set is containing around lakhs or more than that records, so generally that is a large data set. right? But I said there is no hard and fast cutoffs there. So Cheta, you can adopt like okay, so you can do the things in either Microsoft Azure, or we have a Google Cloud Platform, GCP, and then we have a AWS. Even we have a Google Colab also. Yeah, welcome guys. Any other questions, guys? YouTube guys, any questions? Okay, so Siddhanta, generally we are looking for an accuracy at least 70%, right? 70 or 75%, at least we are looking for that much accuracy. Okay, any other questions, guys? Anyone? Okay. Kishan, no need to call a function. We have a model built. You need to just, pass the name of model. Dot predict is a method. And within the predict method, you can pass your data set. Right? Okay, guys. So if you guys are clear with this part, so I mean, this is how we typically build a neural network model. Is there any technique or tool for increasing the data set? Suppose data set is 100, if I want to make it 500. Kanta, yeah, there are techniques, but I mean, it will be better that you are getting the data set, with the increased size from the source only. Because if you're applying any of the technique actually to increase the size of data set, ultimately either we are introducing the fake records, or we are introducing the duplicate records, right? So it will be better that you are getting the sufficient data set size from the source only. Yes. Kishan, this Mesonet model is something like, first of all, you need to understand for what purpose it is being used, right? And then you need to check it, what kind of a layers and what kind of a input data set is required for a particular model which we have specified. Then only you can start building, right? Yes, Sucheta, correct. Please share the screen. Okay, just a minute. Yes, Sucheta, you can try it, but as I told you, okay, so let me tell you, if you want to utilize Azure or AWS or Google Cloud Platform, so for that, first of all, you need to create an account over there. And to create an account, it is very much required that you must be having a credit card, right? So it will ask the credit card details so that in future when you are going to utilize the services, for each and every services, first there is some free limit, and the moment you cross the free limit, there will be some charges, right? So like this is the limitation what you have, but yeah, you can go with the Google Collab. So Google Collab is something like which can offer you the free like what you can say some free services, and you can create an free account with Google Collab without passing your any kind of a financial details. So to access the Google Collab, you just need your Gmail ID and password. That's it. Okay. Just a minute, guys. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Yes, Suchita. For for beginners, Collab is the best. So this is what we have. Any doubt, guys? Someone was saying share the screen. Okay, guys. So if we are clear with this part, so any other questions, guys? Anyone? Okay, no questions. Great. So if you're clear with this part, let's come back to the ChatGPT part. Let's do a couple of more hands-on and let's try to understand a couple of more concepts. All right. So guys, you can open your ChatGPT account and give me a minute so that I'll be ready with the things. Meanwhile, you can open with your ChatGPT account, right? Okay, guys. So yes, Cheta, if you forget the password, you can record that one. There is option to recover, forget password kind of thing. Okay, let me share my screen. So is it visible, guys? My screen is ChatGPT account. Okay, cool. So this is what like we have done in the last session. So we saw how you can summarize any of the article, how you can create a table, right? Even you can get insights from your article also, or you can create a like you can pass a prompt to create an individual table like this. So this is what we have already done in the last session. All right. So up to this, guys, any doubt or any queries, anyone? With respect to the chat GPT? Okay, cool. So we saw, guys, couple of examples how you can pass your prompt just by writing in this input box, and based upon your prompt only, the ChatGPT will generate the response. So like this is something we are calling as a prompt, and this is something we are calling as a ChatGPT response. And we also saw how we can modify the response based upon our requirement, and how we can modify our past prompt and make it as a new prompt or modified prompt, right? And these kind of prompts, when you modified any past prompt, so that is something we are calling as a follow-up prompt. Follow up prompts. Follow-up prompts, right? So what are the follow-up prompts? So let's say I'm modifying this prompt and I'm adding a couple of more details. So like create a table with 2 columns, one that lists the 10 tallest building in the world, another lists the height in meters. And let's suppose here I'm specifying one more thing, like add country as another column. So this is what I'm modifying my past prompt, all right? So based upon my past prompt, like I have modified this prompt, and accordingly I'm getting a new outcome from the ChatGPT. And now if I write any other prompt based upon this outcome, if I write any other prompt, so let's say I want to remove this height column. So I can ask ChatGPT that remove height column. This is something we're calling as a follow-up prompt. So based upon my previous prompt, whatever prompts I will write in upcoming, like this chat session, that is something we're calling as a follow-up prompt. Follow-up prompt. So these follow-up prompts are used to modify the past response of the ChatGPT or to add a couple of more details. So for that, we use this follow prompt. All right. So in this ChatGPT, guys, since we are dealing with the prompts, so there is a specific section or a specific domain we have something called as a prompt engineering. So it is very much necessary to understand what is a prompt engineering. The reason being, if you are writing a bad quality prompt, definitely ChatGPT will give you a bad quality response. So to get the more accurate and relevant outcome from the ChatGPT, you need to write a good quality prompt. And to write a good quality prompt, you need to understand what is a prompt engineering, right? So let's discuss this particular concept of the prompt engineering. So, okay. So this PPT is visible, guys, to everyone. Okay, cool. So let's understand, guys, what is this prompt engineering? Yeah, thanks, guys. So this is something I have already covered. ChatGPT is a large language model developed by the OpenAI, right? Where GPT stands for the generative pre-trained transformer. It is a generative pre-trained transformer. And the base model for GPT is a GPT 3.5. This is what we saw. We have a 2 versions, GPT 3.5 and GPT 4. So 3.5 is a free version and GPT 4 is a paid version, right? So GPT is designed to generate a human-like text response when it is given to a prompt or question, making it capable of engaging the natural language conversation with the users. So this is something I have already told you. ChatGPT can only understand the text data as an input, and it can only provide you text as an output. All right, this is something we have already saw. So these details, we already know that. Okay, so all of these things we have discussed already. So like if we talk about like potential area of application for the ChatGPT, so basically including the chatbots, virtual assistant, content generation, language translation, or even more creative writing kind of tasks. So all of these are the applications of the ChatGPT. Now let's see what is a prompt engineering. Right? So guys, prompt engineering is nothing but it is writing a good quality prompt, to get a best possible result from the model. So how I can write a good quality prompt? That is something with the help of prompt engineering. Right? So within that, guys, we have a different methods which you can follow to write a good quality prompt, so that whatever outcome is generated by the ChatGPT, that is the more accurate and relevant to your use case. Okay. So this particular part is called as a prompt engineering. So let's see what other things are there. But before that, let me just show you a couple of more things. So this is how ChatGPT starts generating the response. So this is the input box what we have. Here we write our prompts, and these prompts will be the input to my large language model, which is called as a LLM. And ChatGPT is one of the example of large language model. So based upon this particular prompt, ChatGPT will start generating the response, and it will provide the outcome like this. Right? So the thing is, if your prompt, this input prompt is bad quality, your output will also be a bad quality. So how to write a good quality prompt? That is something called as a prompt engineering. Okay. So here I have a couple of more details. Like there is something called as garbage in, garbage out with respect to prompt engineering. That means if your input is a garbage, your output will also be a garbage. So in case of a ChatGPT prompt engineering, if you're writing a poor quality prompt, your output will also be a poor quality. That is the meaning of garbage in, garbage out. And if there is a garbage in, garbage out, then we also have something called as a impressive input, or thoughtful input, and impressive output. That means if your input is of good quality, your output will be impressive or more accurate and relevant. Right? So this whole thing comes under the prompt engineering. So now to understand the prompt engineering, actually we have a couple of methods are there. So one of them, most commonly used method is something called as a CETO process. So we have something called as a CETO process, CETO, CETO process. Now, what is this CETO process? So in this CETO, the C stands for the context, E stands for the expert persona, T stands for the task, O stands for the output. So in that way, we have something called as a CETO process. Right? Now, by using this CETO process, you can write a good quality prompt very easily. Right? Very easily, you can write a good quality prompt just by following this CETO process. Now, let's understand this CETO process through example. So please remember, the C stands for the context, E stands for expert persona, T stands for task, O stands for output. Right? In that way, we have a CETO process. Now let's come back to ChatGPT account page. So up to this point, any questions, guys? Anyone? Okay. So let me share my screen. Okay. So let's try to understand each and every part of the CETO process. So the first one is, guys, the context. That means when you are writing a prompt, if you provide a small context to ChatGPT, like in which context you are looking for an outcome, it will be very helpful for a ChatGPT to generate the more accurate and relevant outcome. For example, let's suppose I want to generate some motivational quotes from ChatGPT, right? So let's say this is my requirement. So let me do it like this. Like this. Okay. So let's suppose, guys, this is my requirement that in my organization, my team is struggling with some project management challenges. My business team is struggling with some project management challenges. And for them, I want to generate some motivational quotes, right? So let's say this is the requirement. But if I directly ask ChatGPT to provide me some motivational quote without providing any context, if I directly ask ChatGPT, provide some motivational quote. Let's say provide 10 motivational quotes. Let's see what ChatGPT generates. Okay, cool. So this is what ChatGPT is generating as a 10 motivational quotes for me. But guys, since I'm looking for motivational quotes from my business people who are struggling with the project management challenges. So probably if you see these motivational quotes, although these are the motivational quotes, but this is not well suited for my case. I am looking for a motivational quote for business peoples. Right? So if you see here, believe you can, you are half okay. The only way to do great work is to love, what you do, or your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life. So like these are the motivational quotes, but like these kind of quotes are not well suitable for my case, right? So probably I am looking for a motivational quotes which is more suitable for a business people who are struggling with the project management challenges. So if I provide a little bit context to ChatGPT, that what is the context? So this is the context. Context is motivate the business people struggling with the project management challenges. This is just a small context I'm providing to ChatGPT. And then I'm asking ChatGPT to write me few quotes. Let me just copy this one. Right? So here I'm providing a small context to ChatGPT in which context I'm looking for the outcome. And then I'm asking ChatGPT write me, let's say, 10 quotes. Now, if you see, whatever motivational quotes is being generated by ChatGPT, all of these are related to project management. Like in realm of the business challenges are not roadblocks and like that. Project management is not about avoiding the storm, something like that. Right? Behind every successful project is a team that something each and every these quotes are being associated with some kind of a business motivation. Right? So I mean these are the outcome which is these are the quotes basically which are which are very much useful in my case compared to the previous outcome. So this is the meaning of the context in the CETO process. So C stands for the context. If you provide little bit context in your prompt, like in which context you are looking for an outcome, it will be very easy for ChatGPT to generate more accurate and relevant outcome. Is that clear, guys? This part? Don't worry, guys. Attendance link will be there in some time. Okay? Don't worry about it. YouTube, guys, is that clear? Okay. Please show CETO. Okay. Let me just share my screen. So this is what we have a setup process, right? C stands for the context. This is what we have discussed just now. If you provide little bit context, in which context you are looking for an outcome, it will be very easy for ChatGPT to generate more accurate and relevant outcome. E stands for expert persona. T stands for the task. O stands for the output. Okay. Don't worry, guys. All of these PPTs will be there, over the LMS portal. So, like this PPT is not there over the LMS portal, but by tomorrow, all of these materials will get uploaded. Okay. Okay. So let's come back to ChatGPT part. So this is the meaning of the expert. The context. Now the second term is in the CETO process is E. E stands for the expert persona. E stands for the expert persona. All right. Now, what is the expert persona? Expert persona is nothing but, guys, assign a role to the ChatGPT, making the ChatGPT as an expert, and then ask ChatGPT to generate the response. All right. Guys, attendance link is there in the chat box. You can mark your attendance, right? So expert persona is nothing but, guys, making the ChatGPT as an expert of a particular domain. Okay. For example, let's see this particular example. Okay. Let's suppose I'm looking for, guys, what is an AI and its contribution in today's world. So this is what I'm looking from ChatGPT. So if I directly ask ChatGPT to provide me outcome for that, let's see this one. What is AI and its contribution in today's world, right? So let's see what ChatGPT will generate if I directly ask ChatGPT like this. Okay. So this is how ChatGPT is, providing the outcome or the response. So first of all, it is providing what is an AI, right? And then it is providing some common contribution of AI in today's world, like in automation, in personal assistant, healthcare, finance, and all, right? But what if, guys, if I am a project manager or if I am a data scientist, and from that point of view, I'm looking for the outcome. So if I'm a data scientist, or let's say I'm an AI engineer, so from that point of view, this is totally irrelevant for me because I'm looking for some technical details, right? So this is the place where you can utilize something called as an expert persona. Now, if I ask ChatGPT that, act as a data scientist and then tell me what is an AI and its contribution to today's world. Let's see. So in the first line, what I'm doing, I am assigning a role to the ChatGPT, role as a data scientist. I'm asking ChatGPT that behave like a data scientist, act as a data scientist, and then tell me what is the AI and its contribution in today's world. This is something called as an expert persona, or assign the role to ChatGPT. Assign role to ChatGPT, right? And this is something called as an expert persona. Right? Now let's see the outcome. See, guys, see the difference of this particular response and the previous response. Now I'm getting some technical details. All right, like automation and efficiency, predictive analytics, personalization, AI algorithms, right? And if you just scroll it down, this NLP domain, IoT, right? Image and speech recognition, cybersecurity. So, I mean, this is how the output will get changed. This was the previous outcome, right? So this is the current response based upon the expert persona prompt. So this is the difference between providing a prompt without expert persona and with expert persona. Both prompts, 1 second, just a minute, Nandini, I will show you. Yeah, so this is what we have. Don't worry, guys. I think all of these things are there in your LMS. You can check it, right? You can check in the data. I guess these things are there, like these prompts are there, sample prompts which I'm using. Okay. If not there, I will upload it by tomorrow. Okay. So no need to, copy and paste it or write it down in your notebook. But yeah, is that clear, guys? This part? What is the context and what is the expert persona? Okay, cool. And then the third one is, guys, is the task. Task is simply whatever things you want to perform by ChatGPT, make it in a very crystal clear manner. All right. So whatever output you're looking for, ask it in a very crystal clear manner. Let's suppose I want to write a social media post with quotes about leaders. And for this post content, I'm asking ChatGPT to pull the inspiration from some popular history writers. So if you write like this, let me show you like this. So what I'm asking ChatGPT, write a social media post with a quote about leaders. And for this post content, pull the inspiration from some popular history writer. So if you specify in a general way that pull the quotes from some popular history writers, so those history writers, they can be from India or they can be from other countries. But if you are if you want the quotes from Indian history writer, you need to clearly specify that some popular Indian history writers. So I mean, this is the meaning of task. Whatever task you want to perform by you want ChatGPT to perform, make it in a very crystal clear manner. And here also you can use an expert persona. Like I can ask ChatGPT to act as social media expert. And then write a social media post. So it's a combination of expert persona with task. So now you can see this is how ChatGPT is generating a social media post, right? You can even ask ChatGPT to write it in a long paragraph kind of thing. So if you see here, here they are pulling the quotes from some foreign history writers, right? But if you want, you can ask ChatGPT to pull the quotes from some popular Indian history writers. So let me do like this. Let's say some popular Indian history writer. Now see the response. Okay, cool. So now you can see, guys, the inspiration is, the inspiration is pulling from some popular Indian history writers, right? So, I mean, in that way, you can specify your task in a very crystal clear manner. And the final one is the output in the pseudo process. So output is nothing but in which format you want the output. So let's say in the output, you can see here, I'm getting some, by default, some hashtags. But let's say I need more hashtags. So I can ask ChatGPT, provide, or let's say include more hashtags. Now you can see I'm getting a couple of more hashtags in this outcome. Or I can ask ChatGPT, to write in a long paragraph. Write it in long paragraph. So that means like output is nothing but in which format or in which form you are looking for an output, right? And let's say I need some headings or subheadings in that. This is also you can ask ChatGPT to include main heading and few subheadings. So this is how, I mean, you can, like tune your output. You can see. So this is something, the meaning of the output. So in short, if you combine the things from the CETO process, ultimately you are, tuning the response from the ChatGPT. And probably ChatGPT in this case will provide you more accurate and relevant outcome. Is that clear, guys? This part? Sucheta, attendance link is there in the chat box. Okay. Guys, attendance link is there in the chat box. You can mark your attendance. Okay. Any questions, guys? YouTube guys, any questions? Any questions, anyone? No, Kichu, this GPT 3.5 model is trained up to January 2022 data. Right? No, like it's not learning whatever, prompts we are providing. And actually, we don't know whether this, this model is, learning from this data or not. But generally, it is assumed that GPT 3.5 is not learning whatever data we are providing, but it is a black box kind of thing. Okay, it is not very clear. But officially, this model has trained up to January 2022 data. Okay. Yes, Nandini, correct. This is what we are calling as a prompt engineering. How to get exact and accurate outcome from the ChatGPT. Guys, attendance link is there in the chat box. Please mark your attendance. Any other question, guys? Anyone? Ramesh Raj, yes, we have an email ID like edl@xlr.com. You can, ask your queries there. Okay, the team will respond to you. Okay, guys. So if you don't have any question for me, so this is what I need to I have to discuss with you guys for today's session, right? Can we consider ChatGPT as a model that people train accordingly? What does that mean, Nandini? I didn't understand your question. Yes, yes, Nandini. So this is what we have discussed in the first session. Like context awareness is there for a particular session, right? For a particular session, context awareness will be there in the chat GPT. And accordingly, it generates the response. Yes, correct. Okay, guys. So this is what I need to discuss with you guys for today's session. Uh, if you have any questions, guys, related to attendance or LMS or certification kind of thing, so you can ask to Chandana. Over to Chandana.
Yeah, thank you, Vikas. Guys, do you have any queries? Please let me know in the chat box, and I'm sharing the attendance link in the chat box. Please mark your attendance. So don't forget your attendance. Again, you will ask for the certificate. Right. So that's why I'm telling you again. Gumad is asking when will get certificate, ma'am. Guys, after completion this program, within 7 working days, you will get your certificate through your email. Okay. I'm mentioning that within 7 working days, okay? Not including weekends. Will be there any exam for certificate? No, somebody's Vivo something. Yeah, like for assessment, we are giving another certificate. For participation certificate, you need only attendance. So, by marking your attendance, you will get certificate. And 60% attendance is mandatory for the certificate. Remaining 5 days are there, guys. So it will be closed like 9th. Yeah, okay. Any more questions? So I hope there is no more questions in YouTube and Zoom as well. So we'll wind up the session for today, okay? And we'll meet on tomorrow, same time. Up to then, take care, guys. Everybody. Okay, somebody's asking attendance. Let me share. Veena is asking out of 15 days, how many days attended? Means I didn't get you. Like approximately 9 days you have to attend for the certificate. Okay, then I hope there is more questions. Okay, guys, we'll meet on tomorrow. Up to then, take care. Have a great day. Bye bye.